Hello, welcome to Mr. Paul's Pantry. I'm Mr. Paul, and if you're new here, a very warm welcome. If you're a returning visitor, nice to see you back again. I'm glad you called round. Well, the recipe today is a bit of an old school recipe. It's something that's made a long time ago, but not very often these days. It's been requested by a lot of people, and I'm very happy to show you how to do it. It's called Eve's pudding. It used to be a very popular school dinner meal, I understand, although I didn't experience school dinners myself personally. So let's get on with the ingredients and we'll see how to do it. So here we have the ingredients for the Eve's pudding. First of all, we start with the base of it. That's the fruit, which is 500 grams of apples. I'm using Granny Smith's, but you can use any cooking apple you wish. 500 grams. I've got a tablespoon of lemon juice I shall use from that lemon. I've got 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves. If you haven't got ground cloves but you've got whole ones, then you can use just 3 whole cloves. And 2 tablespoonfuls of water I shall use as well. Now the sugar is dependent really on how sweet your apples are. Mine are Granny Smith's. I'm going to use 100 grams of sugar, but if you've got a sweeter apple, you can cut that sugar down to say 50 grams, okay? I'll go through that again. It's 500 grams of apples, a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves, or you can use cinnamon or something like that if you want. I like cloves with the apples. 2 tablespoonfuls of water, which I haven't got here, but I shall get that. And the sugar, I'm using 100 grams. Now for the topping, the sponge topping, I'm using self-raising flour here. That's 100 grams, 75 grams of soft butter, 75 grams of caster sugar, 1 egg beaten, and some people like to put 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract in it. I can't stand the taste of it. I think it ruins the flavour of everything you put it in. I see some cooks ladling 1 and 2 teaspoonfuls in a small amount like this. And in the bakery, if ever we used it, 1 teaspoon would go in about 5 or 6 kilos of mixture. So I don't know how they can eat it. But anyway, if you want to put vanilla in, you can. I'll go through the topping again. It's 100 grams of self-raising flour, 75 grams of soft butter, 75 grams of caster sugar, 1 egg beaten, and if you want some vanilla extract, put that in. Okay, so they're the ingredients, and let's get on with putting it all together. So for the filling, we're going to add the apples to the pan. We're going to add the sugar to the pan, and the clove. I use ground clove. You can use nutmeg or cinnamon, anything you want. And I'm just going to add to that about a couple of tablespoons of cold water. Just a couple. And then we'll turn the heat on. Bring that water to the boil. And then I will turn it down to a simmer and put on the lid and wait till the apples have softened. That should take 3, 4, probably 5 minutes, that's all. Okay, now we've got the apples cooking. We've got the apples cooked. They're now cooling, and whilst that's happening, let's get on with making the topping. Okay? So we're going to do the sponge topping now. So we're going to add in, first of all, the sugar into the bowl and the butter. And we're going to cream those together Now when that's nice and fluffy, we're going to add the egg a little at a time. Just a little at a time. And now we're going to add the flour. I'm putting the flour in all at once, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just fold in the flour slowly. I'm not going to use the mixer for the flour because we don't want to develop the gluten. If we do, that will give us a tough sponge topping. So we'll just keep folding that in until all the dry flour has been incorporated. Now, if you find your mixture's a little bit too dry, if you've used a smaller egg than what, the one I've indicated, I use a medium-sized egg for this. I think in America you call it a large egg, but I'm not sure. But if you find it's a little bit stiff, and that is a little bit stiff, it's not dropping off the spatula as I would like it, so I'm going to add just a tingy-wingy little bit of milk. A little drop, just a little drop here, probably a teaspoon, that's all. Because my egg, I don't buy the eggs in the supermarket. My neighbour supplies me with fresh eggs from their chickens, and it's probably not as large as it ought to have been. That's it all done. So now we're going to use this dish. It's I think it's about 6 inches across. I can't remember the exact size of it, but anyway, it's well buttered. And I'm going to put the apple into it now, and the apple needs to be quite generous. Here we are. And then the apple's cool, by the way, don't forget. And now we're going to put on the sponge mixture onto the top of it. We're going to just work that round so it's touching the sides of the bowl. We don't want to press it down into the apple. Just whirl it gently so it's touching the sides of the bowl. Keeping it nice and level if we can. There we are. And that's going to go in a hot oven at about 180, I think. I'm going to try it at 180, and it should take about 40 to 45 minutes. So I'll pop that in the oven and then we'll be back shortly. Here we are then. Straight out of the oven. There's the Eve's pudding, and I think that looks very, very nice. I think we'll take a portion out of that. There we are. A nice portion there of Eve's pudding. That looks very, very tasty. Just needs finishing off now with a little custard. And there we are. And there it is. lovely juicy apples underneath with a nice springy sponge on top. Well, that's all I have time for this time. So it's Mr. Paul saying bye for now, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet or left me a thumbs up underneath or any comments, do so now just underneath the video. So bye for now, and I'll see you next time.